Welcome to Gin and Gin, where generations and gaming collide. I'm Crunch,
And this is Angel.
and this is our spoiler-free Scream 6 movie review.
It's not a review, it's a react.
Reaction review, exact same thing.
It's not the
Um,
same thing.
we're gonna give our opinions, right, on what we think
But it's our
about the movie.
react versus how we're actually reviewing it. To me, they're
Well,
different.
it's like but spoiler-free. It's like a spoiler-free review.
It is spoiler free. There's no spoilers here. So,
Exactly, but we're reviewing our thoughts of the movie.
okay. So,
Spoiler-free review.
oh my gosh.
Okay.
This is the first time we really sound like a mother and a son.
Because it's the first time you. Oh, okay.
It's the first time I'm like, wow, we really sound like
Because
a
your
parent.
mom's explaining me.
You're trying, I don't know, kids explain it? I don't know you're not a kid. Technically, you're not a kid, but you know, whatever. Okay, let's get into.
But all right, cool. I don't know if we're gonna keep that or cut that. But first thing, general thoughts. We did say the trailer looked disappointing.
That is true. That is true, and I still agree with that. I still agree with us. We watched both the two different trailers. You can go on our channel and watch it. I still firmly agree that the trailer, they could have done a better job with either trailer. I think both trailers are still very disappointing. What about you?
I agree. The trailers were lackluster. I came in. My expectations weren't that high.
Yep.
Again, I didn't watch 5. 4 was okay for me, so I was like, not that high of expectations. Though I am happy to say, I was pleasantly surprised. How about you?
Yes, I loved it. I loved the movie. I'm glad that we went anyway and we didn't base it off the trailer because we would have been so sad. But I thought it was a great movie. I thought it was a great movie.
It was pretty good. The pacing was okay.
Yeah.
We'll get more into that in the spoiler review.
Yep.
But the pacing was really good. The introduction of the characters was so put out. They didn't seem to like rush you into them. Even someone who hadn't seen the 5th movie like me, I was able to find out what was happening, like catch up, and I didn't feel like out of place or like, oh crap, I haven't watched the 5th movie. I don't know what's going on at all. They did a good job explaining.
And I, as someone who's seen all of them, I think that it was balanced. So if someone who has seen them and is a big fan, I didn't feel it was too slow. Like, oh my god, they're wasting all this time on character building. So I think I think you make a good point. It was a good balance there between, you know, people who are big fans could just jump right in, and people who don't, who may not, you know, who maybe never seen it or have maybe missed a few movies, and it doesn't take them much to catch up. So, but yeah. So with that being said, we will tell you this: the only spoiler that we will give you, and I'll put that clip in right now, is when we watched the previews or the trailer. Crunch did predict that when they were doing it, he's like, she's gonna flip, and that's how she's gonna die. He was right.
Yeah, see, so that is a thing that some of the kills
right here's
are predictable.
Right?
Yeah, okay, but you'll cut it in. But yeah, some of the kills are predictable. It's if you don't like slashers, you're not gonna like this movie.
That's true. That's true.
If you don't like slashers, this is not the movie that. Oh my god, I've changed my mind. Slashers are love. Slashers are life. It's not gonna happen.
No,
you're gonna hate them just as much.
Yeah.
But if you like slashers, and if you like more grounded slashers, like slashers with plausibility, not like supernatural killers like Jason or Freddy, then I think this movie's pretty good.
Yep.
At some points in the movie, we'll get further, like in the spoiler, we'll discuss more of that. It does like throw you off and like some like maybe it's supernatural, but they managed. But at the end, like nah, it's like the rest of the Screams. They did a good job, and it all makes sense. And the twist on this one, not gonna spoil it.
Okay. So what I will say is that, I like I said, I like the movie, and I like how, because with outside of the first Scream, because I just went in to watch it, you know, it's like, oh, it's Scream, and I had a really, you know, because, you know, younger, but with each Scream thereafter that, it was really about playing a game with myself with who's the killer, who's the killer, who's the killer. or killers. Most of them's killers. There's only one of them where it's only one killer. The rest of them, it's been two. So, who are the killers in the movie? And this one was no different. This one was no different. However, I was right. We were right because we were talking. Even though I'm so glad.
Again, we'll have to get more into it.
Well,
I don't think we even discussed it. Again, if even just saying what you're about to say is a spoiler.
It wasn't a spoiler. I wasn't going to give anything away. See, you interrupted me, mansplaining.
Okay.
My point is that I'm glad that the theater only had a few people in it because we went during the daytime because we were trying to be quiet, but we still were talking. So sorry, people who was in the theater with us. Anyway, but we were talking and trying to, and we were both right. Would you stop? We were both right. So we were right, but we were wrong. And it'll make sense once we talk about the spoiler, but I just want to point it out that we were both right because we were, like I said, we were talking throughout the movie, and yet we were wrong. We were right but wrong.
It was a twist that you at least it sets up, like in most Screams. And this is really a spoiler because in Screams, in everyone, I think did they do it in 5 where they set up the rules of horror movies?
Yep, I think they do it every single time.
Yeah, so in every Scream they do that, and this Scream does it as well. And but the way they play with their own rules is fascinating.
Yeah, they go against the trope. They go with it, but against it. So it's really that's a good way. It's a typical stereotypical expected trope with a twist. That would be fair, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I would consider that fair.
Okay, so but as far as the scale, like Crunch said, if you like slasher movies, you'll like this one. If you like Scream, you'll like this one. I don't know if it's my favorite out of the franchise, but I think it fits in very well. I think they've done a really good job with it. I could definitely see how they could do a 7 with the way that it's ended, which I thought was interesting. It's like, wow, they could really... there's a couple of directions that it could go. But I think if you like slashers, if you don't like slasher movies or you don't like horror and you don't like gore, even though I don't think there's a lot of gore in this one compared to other stuff that I watched.
It's not a Saw. It's not a lot of gore.
Yeah.
But it can get pretty graphic.
Yeah.
Again, not like Saw levels, but it can get graphic.
So if that kind of stuff, if that's where you're at, then I wouldn't recommend seeing it. I don't think
you hate stabbing. Don't watch this movie.
You don't like blood. Don't watch this movie. I think that's, to be fair, like Crunch was saying, if you're going in thinking, oh, this is going to be way different, it's not. It's still a slasher movie. It's intelligent, but it's still slasher. So that's fine.
I like how you touched on that. It's a very intellectually done movie. Again, there's tropes and stuff. It's not a perfect movie, but it makes you think. Yeah. Throughout the entire movie, the game of who is the killer or who are the killers? Are there killers? That kind of thing. It's a really good driving force of the movie. Speaking of that, though, numerically, what would you give it, Angel, out of 10?
Because
like for a slasher movie.
Like, this is our first time actually doing versus watchability and an actual rating. I think at a rating of 1 to 10, trying to keep my bias out of it because I'm a huge Scream fan. If I came out of it and just looked at it, I would probably say it was 7.5.
See, I agree with you there. It's about 7.5 for me.
Yeah.
It's a good slasher movie. It's above average.
Yeah.
Is it a perfect slasher movie? No. Would I consider it a classic? No. But for what it does it excel at it? It does.
I think it did good.
It really does. It really doesn't push the boundaries of a slasher movie, but it does a slasher movie really well.
But it also has its own little... It's a little bit different, too. So that's why I gave it a little... It's above average. It's above average. But it's not a 10. I don't think it's going to set the field that the first Scream did. Because to me, the first Scream was just... It just redefined slasher movies. So, it's not that level. But it's still good. It's still good.
Yeah. But that will be our spoiler-free review. 'Cause I don't think there's much else we can talk about
Yeah.
without giving it away. So if you're interested in our more in-depth thoughts, check out that video. It'll be out soon.
Yep.
I do hope you guys, if you go watch it, that you enjoy it. Give us your thoughts. What do you think? Was it good? Was it a bad movie? Try to keep it spoiler-free in the comments.
Yep.
And as always, welcome to the family, y'all.